Karibuni, welcome tuelimishwe kwa maswala ya jamii, tutumbuizwe sana mbalimbali, tujuzwe juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, wapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
And good evening. My name is Likuyani Eli. Welcome to Against All Odds that comes to you every single Sunday right here on Art in Heart. Remember, you can tune in from 9:30 p.m. East African time and 7:30 p.m. Central European time. Tonight, my guest is an interesting gentleman. He is a man with a lot of hats on his head. He's an ICT enthusiast. He's a mental health warrior, and among other stories that you are about to find out about Bonface Witaba. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring you my guest of the night, Mr. Witaba. Good evening, sir, and how are you tonight?
Good evening, Ellie. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
It's really a pleasure to have you, sir. You know, I'm feeling more ICT savvy right now, now that you're seated there. But before we begin, kindly introduce yourself to our audience and tell us in a nutshell who you are.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you once again. Like you said, I wear many hats. To begin with, my name is Bonface Witaba. Born and bred in Kakamega, schooled partly in Kakamega and Busia. That's my primary and high school. Came to Nairobi, or went to Nairobi at the university to study information technology. After my university, jobs were not easy coming by, so I thought to myself, what is it that I could do, at least to show the community? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Kindly proceed.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, my headset went off. So yeah, just to show the community that, you know, when you get the education, you can come back and do something meaningful to the community. So it's then that I decided to register my organization and co-founded with a colleague of mine, the Center for Youth Empowerment and Leadership, to mentor youth, and mostly women, on matters internet. But later on, it would include other programs, internet governance policy, because it was a new concept that was coming on board. And yes, along the way, I'll be able to talk about my journey and where this has taken me to so far. Thank you.
As we try to get into your journey, sir, you come from a village that highly auction dogs. Tell us about the dogs market first.
Yes, we are. It's a renowned village. I think the biggest dog market in East Africa. I don't know if that's something to be proud of. Maybe yes for dog lovers, but I think every time I've gone to maybe country X or place X, and they told me, "Oh, you're from that town that sells." I've always been quick to try and dissociate myself with it. Okay, but yeah, depending if you're a dog lover, yes, but because they say that's the only thing we can offer, which is not true. Here,
but they don't in any way sell German Shepherds, right?
No, I think it's just Simba puppy.
Okay. So now that we've discovered you're a dog seller by default factory settings, we'll be coming back to that. But tell us something about your journey, sir. You are well traveled. You've been through very many countries. What takes you in and out of Kenya?
Well, first of all, I'm thankful to God. Because I don't take this for granted. By God's grace that I'm able to go to those countries that I go to. But mostly, I think let me start where my journey all began. 2009, after I just launched my organization, I was privileged to meet a colleague of mine. I mean, there's a friend of mine whom we are aspiring to be priests together, but we diverted.
Wait, you wanted to be a priest?
Yes, but along the way, everyone took their path. We opted out of the prison journey. So by then it was, I think, just before the new constitution, it was that working with the provincial government in Nakuru. So he mentioned to me that he had attended a training in Addis Ababa. So courtesy of GIZ, for those who know GIZ, it's a German organization. They do capacity building. So by then they were doing capacity building in Africa in ICT, open source actually, let me say, open source technologies. So he mentioned to me that now that you're an ICT personnel, I think this is a program that will be fitting to you. So I said, okay, let me try. So they wanted 30 guys. So I shared with my classmates, like, hey, this is an opportunity. This organization is looking for 30 people, but I was like, oh, no one knows us there. So chances of us being selected are nil. I said, okay. So I applied. I think from Kenya, we were about 2 or 3 people. So they were selecting 30 people from around Africa. So after a few weeks, I got an email. You've been invited. You applied for this program, and we're glad to let you know that you've been selected. And then it all went silent. So nothing after that. After acknowledging that, okay, thank you for the email and for the selection. I'm privileged. And then a month later, like, do you have a passport with you? I'm like, yes, I have a passport because I'd done my passport application while I was in campus still. So, and they're like, next week, we want you to have your papers ready. We're going to facilitate all your logistics, that is flights, accommodation, and a stipend. So, and here we were going to University of Dar es Salaam to study. No, so it was a fellowship of some sort. So that's how I found myself in Dar es Salaam. It was a 2 weeks on-site course, and then followed by a 2-month online learning. Then after we graduated from the class, we were asked to come up with a project of which the German government was willing to fund. So, and out of the 30 people, I think about 10 of us were active. So we wrote our proposals, they went through, and we got funding. And I started doing my free ICT training. So, like, you bring youth to your training center, but they are all their training courses are catered for facilitator course and all that. And then that was 2010 now. So and then from there, another friend of mine that I met in Dar es Salaam was like, there's this program that's happening at the United Nations in Nairobi, Kigiri. So would you like to come and join? And then that's how I ended up in internet governance. I got there, applied for after the 1 week long session. I applied for a fellowship, and I was given a scholarship to study at Diplo Foundation. It's a foundation affiliated to University of Malta, so where they teach internet governance. I think it's the only university in the world that teaches internet governance and policy. So just to say, internet governance, for those who may not know what this entails, it's basically trying to bring all the stakeholders from end users, technologies, government, civil society, private sector together for them to be able to formulate policies, but from their own respective sectors. For instance, the government always wants to control the internet, but the civil society will come and say, no, you cannot control the internet. So all these sectors, and then for private sector, they want to make profit out of the internet, So everyone comes with policy, like everyone tries to defend from their own standpoint. Like, you cannot do this because if you do this, it will affect my area. So you come up with policies that are favorable to everyone. So that's how I found myself in internet governance. And from there, went to several other countries, started my own initiatives, started getting funding. And fast forward in 2018, we launched the Tanzania School of Internet Governance, because that's where most of my work has been, followed by Arusha Women's School of Internet Governance, and more others, Dodoma, and we trained more than 1,000 youth in Tanzania.
You are often traveling to Tanzania. What is your interest in Tanzania, sir, according to the wind?
Interesting question. I've been asked that a lot. I think after I went to University of Dar es Salaam, I saw there was a gap in terms of what was being offered there. Because in Kenya, when you have an organization in Kenya, my organization was founded in Kenya, but I tried to look around. The field was so flooded. Because when the field is flooded, it means like 10 or 20 people are doing the same thing. When you go to seek for funding, you're asking for funding from the same partner, trying to do the same thing. But in TZ, at that point, there was not a lot going on. So I partnered with some local colleagues that had known at the University of Dar es Salaam. And step by step, we started conducting trainings here and there until, it became big and people started seeing our impact. And but then we weren't getting a lot of support, but later on towards 2018-19 there, people saw that we were passionate about what we were doing, because we were doing a lot with the little that we had. Like sometimes you do capacity building training, 2,000 USD or 2,000 USD. So this was, I feel like, what if we gave you 10,000 or 20,000? What would be the impact? And yeah, I think the fact that I was well received, I think Reverend Collins would say, a prophet is not without honor, except in his own hometown. I think I had done a lot of projects here, but I don't think I was as appreciated as much as I've been appreciated in Tanzania. So that's why.
It's interesting because there you're a celebrity. Back at home, you're just Boniface. But I went through some of your profile and the works you've done, and I realized there's one initiative you did about laptops and e-learning. Kindly give us some background on this and how successful this project was.
Oh yeah, that is 2014. Yes, if my mind is right. Yes, 2014. I think I met a friend on the German program in University of, I was at the University of Dar es Salaam. He was from Rwanda. Rwanda had one laptop per child. So there's a van going around in schools, or in villages, it will have fully equipped with ultra modern laptops with internet. So this week they would go to a certain village and the van would be stationed there. And the youth would come and use the internet for free or get training for free. So I felt like, why not replicate this back home? I wrote a concept note. There was a call for application by Afrinic. They're looking for innovators in Africa that were using internet. For those who don't know, Afrinic is the Africa Network Information Center. It's the regional internet registry for Africa and the Indian Ocean, like the ones that distribute IPs and numbers. If you know .com, no, all those .ke, so and IPs and numbers. So they were having that call for applications, and I said, why not? So I tried. I put in my concept note, and it was accepted. And I remember you helped me do the video for the project. So yeah, we were. I was one of the winners. So we were sent to Turkey, Istanbul, at the United Nations Internet Governance Forum. That's where we received our awards from. I was privileged to be given my award with Vinsurf. Vinsurf is, for those who don't know ICT or internet, the internet history, Vinsurf is the founder of he's the one who founded the internet back in the 60s. Yeah, so he was impressed with what we were doing. So I came back home. We did a pilot project at my home school, that's Lower Primary School. And then it was around that time that the Jubilee government, so you can imagine, before the government had
I
their
was
laptop
about to
project.
ask, did they borrow this from you? Because I had about one child, one laptop, and I was like, this could have been Boniface's idea.
So yeah, before Jubilee started their own project, I was doing that already because even when Charity Glue was, I think it was the brainchild of this when they did the merger and then collaborating to form a government. That was Jubilee. Then, so it was a concept that I was already working on, and then after the pilot project, it went on well. We received. It was well received by the learners and the educators, and then we took it to another neighboring school because we didn't have enough laptops, tablets. There were about 30 tablets then. So we wanted to have more schools so that they'll be on a rotating basis. Like maybe on Monday you're in this school, on Tuesday, but we didn't have a van. So get someone and put them in a backpack, take a border, go to a school while they are fully charged. Because they had all the applications for kids learning. That's grade class 1, grade 1 at this moment. So they had animations that had the kids that would help the kids to learn, like 1, 2, 3, ABCD, colors, and all that. And yeah.
Just before I lose
yes.
you here, I'm interested to find out first. I know this is a little bit far-fetched from what we're discussing, but the fact that you had this idea and you actually implemented it at the level you had, and we have a government that came in with a lot of promissories to the people, but to date this has not been achieved. As an ICT fan and as an ICT guru for that matter, does it disturb you that a government of this stature cannot be able to implement such a noble idea?
I think I believe because politics. I say it's only the government that's allowed to lie to us. Because for you, if you lie to the government, it's a felony. So for the government, when it lies to you, it's right. So yeah, I believe they had a goodwill, but I think they lacked the right people around them to help them implement the strategy. I know Michel was formerly from Google. He had all the credentials and all that. He would have done that. I don't know, but I've never been in government before, so but I understand their bureaucracies in terms of tendering and all that. Plus also goodwill. So, but in my view, based on what I implemented, I felt like it would have been better if the government had built ICT labs in schools, because that was going to be sustainable as opposed to tablets. So because at least if we had in every county the schools that had good infrastructure, if they had ICT labs well equipped with internet, and I think it would have worked. But for the tablet, I think it's still debatable. So, but anyway, I don't know much. But yeah, if they had gotten the right people, I tried to initiate a conversation with them or contact with them, but nothing bad out of it. So I let it slip.
Fair enough. On the internet space, a lot happens there, and one of the most notable thing that happens on the internet space is cyberbullying. I don't know about you, if you've experienced such, and if you haven't, I would love to know something and where you stand when it comes to matters mental health. But this and much more after the short break that we are taking. Remember, this is Against All Odds, and we are hosting Boniface Witaba, who is one amazing guy that you need to listen to. We take a short break, and when we come back, we join with Boniface Witaba.
To deal with wigs of hope, or as we call them here on Against All Odds, and why particular wigs?
I remember there was a time I lost a girl, a friend of mine. She was actually going to 10 years, 10, 11 years. And we became very close, extremely close. She even used to call me mom. She used to call me, but she was suffering from cancer, and I did for her birthday party, and we became such good friends. We used to chat like every day. So there's this time we didn't talk for like a week, and she used to call me in the morning and tell me, Mom, maybe wake up, go to work. We became really tight. So there's a time, unfortunately, I didn't hear from her like a week, and I was wondering, why is this friend of mine not calling me? And the mom just called me and told me, I'm sorry, but your friend passed on. And it really broke my heart so much. I remember I'd gone for an interview with K24, and that day I was talking about the makeovers I do for the cancer survivors. And I remember her picture just came on the screen, and I actually cried in the live interview. I broke down, and they couldn't continue the interview anymore. And I was just asking myself, why would we lose such a young girl? So I told myself I'm never going to do it anymore, because it was also affecting my family. I come home and I'm crying. My kids are like, Mom, I told them, Princess died. And I told myself I'm not going to do any more makeovers because I don't want to keep losing friends. So with time, I took a break for almost like 4 months. I wasn't doing it. People are calling me. They're telling me, Dee, can I come for a week? My sister. And I'm like, not now. I wasn't in that space because it was very painful. So with time, I started going for therapy because I really needed counseling myself. So I started going for therapy, and I was told how to handle death and, such causes and how to handle it. And at least through therapy, I told myself that I need to go on. So that's how I started doing it again. But it reached a point I said, I'm never going to do it again. But right now, I'm back bigger and better.
Indeed, if you missed out on that interview, you can always head back to our YouTube channel and look out for Weeks of Hope with Diana Cage and myself, Likuyani Eli. So get there, subscribe, and share with a friend, and invite more to come to our live shows every single Sunday right here on Against All Odds. I'm here with Boniface Witaba, and before we took a break, I asked him if he's experienced cyberbullying, and I say he is not really the type to bully. But sir, you have been very, very vocal about mental health and mental health awareness. Why is this subject close to your heart, sir?
Wow, such a tough question, but yes, I've been a mental health advocate because at some point I fought depression. I went through depression, and when I tried to open up to someone was close to me, they were like, "Oh, please, man up," So and then it reminded me that society expects men not to look weak. We need to have, according to society or patriarchal society that we live in, we are expected to have hearts of steel, hearts of stone, no feelings. So, like, whatever you go through, you have to man up. No, you're not supposed to be emotional. But yeah, so I fought it for quite some time because I was not able to, after that shutdown, I was not able to speak about it for quite a while. But I realized it was having a toll on me. For some time, quite some time, I was not able to sleep. So like CNN would be my best friend. Watch CNN all night, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Tried taking sleeping pills. Reached a point they could not work anymore.
Wait,
sorry,
Boniface, to cut you. When you say you couldn't sleep, does it mean completely no closing of eyes, or?
No, completely.
And how would these episodes long? I mean, how long would these episodes last?
Yeah, sometimes they'll go for months, weeks, months. Because then I found myself that sometimes you're just moody, you're sad, you no longer enjoy the things you used to do. You no longer enjoy talking to the people you used to talk to. Calls are draining because I think I had to screen my every call, my every email. Not everyone could access me at that point. And then I think at some point I developed what amnesia, temporary amnesia. Like I could not remember the simplest of things. Even I remember there's a time I was offline for about 6 to 8 months. So like I cannot remember my passwords, and all that. So but slowly I was able to overcome. That was the first time. The second time And then another time I had to talk to, there's a debate on TV about mental health. So I had to reach out to someone, a journalist who was working at one of the local stations in Kenya. So I had to reach out to her. And, I mean, we kept that conversation and like, okay, just be strong, be strong. And yeah, but this went on for year in, year out. Sometimes I'm in and out of depression. But I think in 2018 is when I started to open up because someone I know from South Africa, famous hip hop or Kwaito, call them Amapiano musician, committed suicide. And then when I read that story, I was like, this is me, because this is what I'm going through. So if I don't speak, I don't want to be the next, I'll be a statistic. So I don't want to be the next. Let me open up. I don't care what the world will think about me. I don't care how I'll be judged out there. So I said, I'm doing it, and I did it. So I think after that, I got so much support, overwhelming support from total strangers, because what I did a blog post, posted it on my personal blog, shared it on social medias, platforms, and then yeah, I think I got a lot of support and strangers reaching out to me, like, is there anything we can do for you? Someone like many will ask me, what is your PayPal? Your story was so inspiring. We'd like to send you some small money, like to compensate you with for your internet or what that you used to write the story. And yeah, I think after that, I was like, I think this is it. I need to launch an initiative. So through my organization of Invisible Minds, it's an initiative that is concerned about mental health. So, and then after that, I made it a personal initiative. Like whenever we have annual trainings in Tanzania. So in 2019, we made sure we brought in someone from Uganda, a psychiatrist, a mental health practitioner, who came to our training just to make sure, speak about mental health, the importance of ensuring that your mental health is okay, and it's okay not to be okay. That was the mantra. It's okay not to be okay, because not every time that the world things will flow smoothly. That sometimes will be in the valley of shadow of death. One time you are out of it, and I think for me that was my journey. And then also this year we got a mental health practitioner from Muhimbili National Hospital, as a national hospital in Tanzania. So they presented on mental health and why it's vital, especially if you always on right now we're in a pandemic. People are working remotely, and you're working all the time. Either you're multitasking, you're on email, you're on social media, So it's always nice to try and strike a balance to ensure that your mental health is at the highest level as possible.
Boniface, one will question, what were these things that were triggering you to such levels? I mean, from one enthusiastic young man to one person that is overwhelmed. Is it the work around and the experiences you've had as a person? Just give us a brief.
I think okay. I'll try to make the story as personal as possible, so that I do not get to mention names. But yeah, I think I was in a partnership then, and sometimes I was at my lowest point. I know usually there's a saying by Mary J. Blige, some stories from America. So she says that if someone only remembers you if someone can't remember you at your best, they only remember you at your lowest point, then that person never meant well for you. So and then this also brings me back to a topic that was on this channel a few days ago. So where I think one of the presenters, if I'm not wrong, he mentioned that if you're in a partnership and you're in the same age bracket with someone, so they should not be telling you that you should have achieved this while they themselves have not achieved what they want you to achieve. So I think those are some of the issues, like someone
external pressure and such as. But before you diverge, I want to bring your attention to this poetry that is streaming right under the screen on the ticker. And I believe it was titled, if I'm not wrong, what was the title again? Let me just try and figure out. Okay. There is something about that poetry that the Valley of Shadow of Death, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So
tell me something about
the
that
Valley of
writing,
Shadow
which
of
you did
Death.
sometime back in 2018.
Yeah, I think that was the first blog that I did about mental health. So for those of you who are watching, if you go to the blog, I think I'll try, even though I didn't go into details because I was trying to protect some individuals that had gotten into that. But yes, I wrote the poem because one thing, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I needed.
They say if you don't drink, you don't smoke, you love women. Which one is your poison?
So there's no way I could have loved women because I was in a partnership.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm a serial monogamist. So I was in a partnership, so there's no way I would have loved women. So I think I needed to find something that I had been writing, but only that I wasn't sharing what I was writing. So because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I didn't have a stress releaser. So I opted to writing a lot. I wrote a lot, I think at that time, a lot of poems, a lot of stories. I think I sought solace in writing. So today, maybe it was a blessing in disguise, but today I'm a better writer because of the situation that I found myself in then. Because the Chinese say adversity and opportunity always work hand in hand. Depending on circumstances, you can turn one into the other. So I think I try to turn my adversity into something by being a writer. And yes, I'm grateful that today I write for a number of international journals, courtesy of the journey that I started because of depression.
Well, you meant international, and I must admit you are quite an international man in terms of your linguistics. You are rich in language. How many languages do you speak?
I mean, people used to say Pope John Paul II used to speak 40 plus languages, but maybe they're just hello, ciao, bonjour, bon dia. So I mean, just basics. I don't know. Okay, I can say I know the basics of quite a number of languages because I think that's at some point I've been in South Africa. We used to have a program there. So a place called Malanga province. So before I went there, I made sure I practice speaking Sizulu, but though they speak Xhosa, they speak Ndebele over there. But I know and then there are Bantu languages like Ndebele, Sizulu, Kinyarwanda, Lingala, Luganda, Nyankore, Kisukuma in Tanzania, Kihaya in Tanzania. Like they are Bantus, but there's no way someone will speak and if you are Luya and not speak a word, or if you are Kikuyu, or if you are anyone who's a Bantu at your kin with Bantu language, you are able to pick up something from whichever language that someone is speaking in South Africa or Rwanda or Congo or in Tanzania even. So I think and then linguistics, I'd say my love, especially for Swahili, I think started when I started interacting with Tanzanians a lot. I remember that time there's a project by Facebook where we were localizing Facebook into the web platform into Swahili. So it was a voluntary program. So where we had a group of online volunteers that were collectively working together to just make sure Facebook was in Swahili. So I worked and I left when the project was about 80% complete. So if you're using Facebook Swahili today, just know that I was part of that project that localized Facebook. And then fast forward, I think 2014, I was in Singapore. So I met a friend of mine. I made a friend and we became friends. So she was asking me which language you speak, like Swahili. So I've never heard someone who speaks Swahili, but I work for a tech company in Hong Kong, and we're always looking for someone to do Swahili localization for our programs, applications, and these apps and all that. Like, would you be interested? Like, yes. So that's how I think it fueled my love for Swahili. And then later on, I was in Ireland also. I met someone, and they're like, would like to support a Swahili project. Do you think you can do a project in Swahili? And then that was it. So I took my projects again in Tanzania, because that's where Swahili is loved. We tried at Strathmore University, it didn't work. Then we decided to focus on Tanzania alone. So, and then after that, I think we localized a lot of platforms into Swahili. Signal, for those of you, if you know Signal, the alternative of WhatsApp, I localized Signal into Swahili, and many other platforms are there.
Did you say you localized the platform Signal? You as Witaba?
Yes, me. Because there's this Localisation Lab, so it's a US company that does localization. They've localized, I think, digital security tools like VPS and all that into local languages. If you want one in Kiluya or Jaluo, whichever language that you want, you can always tell them, and if there's need and there's proof that there's need, you can get to talk to them, and they'll give you support to host an event. We call them localization sprints, like where you host maybe 15 to 20 people who have a common interest, or they're well versed in a language and they want to maybe convert this tool into this language. So it's a training manual, digital security, how to stay safe. We have all this, how to stay safe online, how to create secure passwords, safety for women online. So all in Swahili and other languages. And last year I was a Stanford research assistant fellow. So where I led a project called Ayeta. Ayeta is a digital security toolkit for journalists, whistleblowers, human rights activists, and anyone who cares about this digital safety, data protection, data privacy online. Things we talked about, the cyberbullying. So all those, if you like to get the manual is uploaded online. So it's in Swahili, it's in English, it's in French. We also speak French. But yeah, all I can say is right now there are about 150 million Swahili speakers in Africa, and Swahili is the second most spoken language in Africa after Arabic. So 150 million Swahili speakers. So this is from Kenya, Tanzania, partly Uganda, Rwanda, DRC, the eastern part, Goma, there's Comoros, Gazija, there's southern Somalia, and many surrounding countries, Malawi, Zambia, and a bit of South Africa, because the freedom fighters were staying in Tanzania at that time. So technology companies are striving to make sure that languages are included online. Like there's what we call multilingualism. It's a project, one of the internet governance stakeholders, the Internet Corporation for Sign Names and Numbers, ICANN, that is. They have a program called Internationalized Domain Name System. So where if you speak maybe Arabic or Russian or any other indigenous language that's not in Latin, does not take Latin characters, maybe Cyrillic for Russian and Arabic for they like going the other way, like us who go this other side. So yeah, it's possible. You can type that, like there's Masr, but in Arabic, masr.com, but in Arabic, not in English. So the same way for Russia. So it's RO, but that's in Cyrillic language, but it means .Russia.ru with a .ru in English. So yeah, so those are some of the initiatives that we're having, mobilizing and ideas to make sure that everyone is included. Because when you look at half of the world is connected online right now. 30 years ago, when the internet started, 80% of content online was in English. Right now, about 50 to 55% is in English. What does that mean? It means that people want to get online using their local language. Let's say a grandmother in the village, they don't know English, but maybe they know how to read and write in Kiluya. They would like to get, or like on Facebook in Kiluya, or on Twitter, or any other platform, or WhatsApp. So they say the next 1 billion of internet users will come from the global south. If you don't do something about language, at least 17 million people, 17 million people that speak this indigenous language will be left out. So that's why tech companies right now are totally, it's like, if you remember 1886, the Berlin
I wasn't there in
conference.
1886, but I know about the Berlin conference.
Yeah, so the scramble and petition for Africa. Right now, technology companies are scrambling for Africa. So if you see Twitter is in, is in Ghana. I think Google is in Ghana, and another company is in Nigeria, I think Facebook. So, and then if you go to those portals, you find that maybe it's
Yeah.
even BBC at Pidgin, Nigeria, say, waiting day,
Waiting day today. Waiting day
blah.
today.
So yeah, so I think tech companies are now fighting just to come to Africa because the language aspect. Swahili is about 0.08 content. Like I wrote one of the articles. I write for Global Voices. It's a magazine that mostly focuses on digital rights and language culture, and digital inclusion. So yeah, I mean, in one of the articles I wrote that 0.08% of content is in Swahili online. So if you try to look for something very rare, like you find very few words in Swahili. But what should we do to get Swahili online? We cannot wait.
Boniface, you don't
Yes.
expect too much Swahili if all our house our wives back at home and our sisters, they're trying to hire house helps and nannies that can speak to their child in English, pure English, and they have to pay them 5,000 shillings at the end of the month.
So I think at the end of the day, we have to do it. You have what you call do it yourself approach. So like you cannot wait for the West to bring us the internet, then bring us the content as well. That's why we see tech giants like Facebook, Google, Mozilla. They are all now in Africa. Twitter and the others. They are all in Africa, trying to make sure that they are closer to the people. And how to, they say, if you want to understand the culture, you have to be part of that culture. So if you want to understand the people, make sure you are part of their language. So that's the only way you can connect to the people. Because let's say, for instance, when it comes to content filtering or when you flag content, especially during election time, content that is in English can easily be reported and pulled down. But if it's in Swahili and you don't have content moderators, who deletes that?
Oh, so are you giving us a tip on how to protest? But you know what? We're gonna get back into that at a later stage. But for now, I want us to actually touch on interesting topic. I see you're wearing a T-shirt, and if I'm not wrong, it's written Kunta Kinte. I suppose this has something to do with Gambia and all that. Why the love for Gambia? Why are you not so patriotic with your country, Kenya? Kwani Kenya ilikufanyia nini? Let's talk about that when we come back. This is Against All Odds.
I came to Nairobi for the first time in my life after campus, after campo. Nikitembelea auntie yangu fulani here and there, but officially I came after campus. And one thing that I told myself deep down, nilijiambia huko ndani, I have never seen women. I have not been seeing women. The women are here.
Yeah, that guy, I don't know what Nairobi did to him, but Boniface is all over traveling to the Gambia. And he tells me he is not just a poet, he's equally a rebel. Why is he a rebel? Boniface.
Okay, first of all, you asked about Gambia. So Kunta Kinte was a prince that was abducted in Senegambia, the present day Gambia, that is in 1767. So he's taken shipped to the US as a slave. Then when he got there, he made several attempts to run away from slavery and come back to Africa. But each time he was caught, I think he tried to run away over 10 times. So as a way to punish him, they asked him what punishment he would prefer to have. For those of you who have watched Roots is a program that exclusively covers the history of slavery, and Kunta Kinte is the main character in that story. So he had to choose between having his leg amputated or having him being castrated. Right?
Yeah.
So he said, because I want my generation to go on, I choose to have my leg amputated. So I think as a historian, I just love a lot about the history of the black folk and the transatlantic trade. And because a month ago, I visited Gori Island in Dakar, in Senegal, like where all this happened. And I've done a blog with the same, and it was so emotional being in the dungeons, one of the dungeons that the slaves were piled together and punished. And if you died there, you were thrown into the ocean for the sharks to eat. But yeah, it's just African, just loving Africa, African history from Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and Webb Du Bois, the first African American to earn a PhD at Harvard University back in 1896. So yeah, I mean, I just love Africa. Africa is ours, and I mean, it's our business. So as for Soul Rebel,
yeah, because
for a good cause, though,
let me be specific, Boniface.
Yes.
Let's not just throw in a blanket, but I noticed from your pieces, you write a lot of Swahili pieces, in fact. And for those who haven't had a chance to look at Boniface's work, just go on bonifacewitaba.wordpress.com, I suppose. Yeah, bonifacewitaba.wordpress.com. And you will see some of his interesting pieces there. And Swahili is one of your chosen language, but your Swahili is influenced a lot with Islamic religion. Why?
Naweza kusema sababu nimekaa Tanzania. Okay, at least you get the accent. Sababu nimekaa Tanzania, I think nimekuwa na ari na Kiswahili too. I mean, Watanzania wanaongea Kiswahili, so hata kwenye kufunza, because I used to lecture in Tanzania at some point. So I'll explain a concept in English. You're training, you're having an IT class, and then you see a hand up. And then like, okay, maybe it's a question like, samahani mwalimu, naomba ukariri kwa Kiswahili, sijaelewa chochote. So yeah, I think I just really love Swahili, the way Tanzanians speak Swahili. It's from their heart. It's inborn. But yes, they speak with an accent, which is very lovely. But then again, Kenyans, when we write Swahili, I think our Swahili is excellent because tunatumia Kiswahili cha kamusi from the dictionary. Like we follow the rules of grammar. Ngeli, nini. So I like Tanzania, like I think same way from Mombasa. Someone would speak very good Swahili, but when it comes to written, so I think I just
But why? Yeah. Why does your writing encompass a lot of Islamic religion in it?
No, I think I've read a lot of just reading, because they say there is this way to stay as far away from ignorance, as Malcolm X puts it, is by reading. Because even him, when he was in jail, he was reading a lot. So I think I read a lot. So every time, I don't know, it's just my subconscious mind. Every time I write a Swahili poem, I just find myself putting in either something, because I've been asked this a lot. Even when out there, we are at a gala event, cocktail event, I don't test either all those haram stuff. So people ask me, are you Muslim? I'm like, no, I'm not Muslim. But I think it's just self-consciousness, reading a lot, and because I lean towards spiritualism actually, as opposed to religion.
Oh, interesting. What's your stand on religion and spiritualism, for that matter?
I think Haile Selassie said that spiritualism is the purest form of worship, where you directly connect with God. And like religion that has been corrupted by humankind. So, when it started, it was pure, but I think at some point, a lot of elements like have been incorporated, because a lot of splinter churches, this is Pentecostal, this is Anglican, this is Catholicism. So like everyone wants to put something that, it's like you have you throw in a sauce that you think you like, and then it dilutes the originality of the religion. Yeah, but I think spirituality is what I've read. And I know this can be contested with those of you that are religious, but it's the purest form of worship. I believe in God. I pray to God, the one God, not any other God. So the one Allah Yahweh. So I know it's known by different names in different religions. So it's the same God I pray to. Because this far I've come, I think for the last 3 years, especially that I was recovering from mental health. I think without the hope in Him, I think I would not be where I am today.
So, if you were to give you a word, would you say religion and true worship has changed the way we are as the children of earth? Because if we were so religious and so true to our religion, like we put it, would we be having corruption? Would we be having people with bad intent and so much evil around? And what should we now focus on other than just the religion aspect?
Oh, that's a broad one. But I think at the end of the day, it's why we call it maadili. I think yale maadili ambayo unafunzwa ukiwa nyumbani, like the basics of character is shaped from I think they say if you want to shape a kid, you have to shape them from the outset when they are young. Samaki mkuja angali mbichi, so ukingoja kumsubiria afike muda fulani anakuwa ameshakauka, hawezi kujikunja kabisa. So I think the same concept. I think it starts from upbringing, because I've seen this. There's a time I did. I was privileged to get a scholarship to do a UN course on early childhood development. So I was really fascinated by early childhood. The first 1,000 days are very vital for a kid. That's where intelligence and all that, everything, character is shaped. Because that's where also standard growth comes in. If you don't feed them, give them the right balance, the right meals. So I think it boils down to character. Because look, I'm sure if you look at some of the countries, not all of them, some of the countries, maybe in Scandinavia, Sweden, mostly they're atheists. They're atheists, but look at them in terms of character and all that, in terms of wealth even. They are more wealthy, and in terms of character, I mean, they have a lot of integrity. I mean, so what is it that is different? Because people always try to shape religion with character and the way you're supposed to behave and virtues, and maybe atheism with vices. But believe me, I think the most I've met quite a number of people, and some of them who are atheists have been my biggest supporters. Yeah, but the only thing you said is the boundaries. Like, yes, I know you don't believe in God. I respect you for that, because we're in the 21st century. We have to respect people's views again. And I believe in God. You have to respect that. So we have to, as long as you are right, to your certain belief does not affect my right. I mean, you're good. But if it crosses, then that's something else.
Boniface, for those who have been following most of our casts from last week, I believe, we've been very disturbed with what is happening in our Kenyan schools. And you've talked about character being shaped. We've talked about religion. And one thing that a lot of people have resonated with is parents are not doing enough. And the other one is saying it's because there are no more Christian Union and weekend challenges happening in school. So the devil is in control. What would you allude to this unrest in schools to? And from your own perspective, as of course you carry a lot of hats on you, like you deliver knowledge, you give skills and all that. What could be the best way out of this?
So that's a complex one, but from in my own humble opinion, I believe we've been in a pandemic for the part of last and this year. So when schools resumed, I don't think there has been gains this I mean, this year, no football, no music festival, no. So like, yes, and then the terms have been very short, I understand. Like, you close for 1 week, you're back because they're trying to recover all the lost time in 2020. But how practical is it? Because you're just pumping in knowledge. How does this learner release the stress that they have? If it's like a river that's just taking in. So if it doesn't take out, there's what you call siltation or something like that. For those of you who know geography, so there's siltation that happens. Like, no. So I think most of this has been contributed by the fact that they don't have stress. Because I was reading a story. There's one school where they asked to play football. The master of duty said no, and then another school they wanted to watch TV. Then they were turned down. So like, how do you find a way? Yes, we're in a pandemic, but how do you find a way to make sure that these learners have a way to relieve the stress that within them? So people will explode. Definitely, people will explode. Yes, understand. Character shapes someone, but in every human being, there's a limit. There's always a limit that you reach, and you're like, I can't go beyond this limit anymore. So you just explode, and there's nothing as worse as getting to a point where your feelings have been suppressed for long, and you have no say. Maybe your voice is unheard when you try to say something. No one is taking up your views. I mean, you'll just explode. So I think my 2 cents worth of counsel would be the ministry concerned should maybe sit down with the teachers or parents, whatever union, and try and see what ways moving forward would be ideal to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Yes, I see a lot of people saying who are bringing a lack of concern from parents. But yes, that also is an issue. But we also need to give the students some time, because all work and no play. They say it makes who Jack or a dull boy or something like that.
A dull boy, true.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes to call it a night, and there's a young man there watching you and trying to understand your journey, and probably they are lost in between what they should pursue or not pursue. What would be your advice to them?
Just be you. My advice would be just be you. Be you. Be authentic. Be real. Go for opportunities out there. Like, don't wait for anyone to come for you. I mean, put yourself out there. Jitume. So you say jitume. Jitume kabisa. Kuna opportunities nyingi like zipo huko nje. Like, yeah, and then surround yourself with people that add value into your circle. Sometimes I always, for wherever I go, like in Tanzania, whenever I go to universities to give a public lecture, I always tell the students, you have they have the most basic generation. You have WhatsApp, you have Instagram, all those platforms that you could join. But they should not be just about taking photos where I'm having hashtag lunch, hashtag work time, hashtag blah. So I mean, make good use of those platforms. Because for me, some years back, my love for Swahili, I posted a lot of Twitter about Swahili. And someone saw that and they're like, look, we're having a project on language in Spain. I would like you to come. I'm going to pay for your ticket. Would you be willing to come and give a talk about what you do in Swahili? And that's how I went to Valencia. And yeah, so those platforms that you use, don't just use them to post nice photos or nice wear or some nice lunch you're having at this nice
After
place.
all, KRA is watching, right?
Yes. KRA is watching. They'll come for you. They'll come for you.
Boniface, thank you so much for coming on board tonight. And in case we want to look out for your literature and the projects you're doing, how can we reach you out?
So I have a website that I think I shared with you, cyel.africa. .africa. So you get there and see other platforms. There's Facebook. There's a Facebook channel. There's LinkedIn channel. There's a Twitter platform. So we post all our opportunities there, whether it be scholarships, fellowships, trainings that are coming close to you. I understand we are in a pandemic, but yes, most of the times where possible, we do them virtually. So if you visit our platforms, you can also drop us an email. Our email is on the website. I think we provide them. So yes, we're always free to hear from you. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And a big up to the team for the anniversary that you've had for the channel.
Thank you so much, Boniface. That is very, very kind of you. And of course, we'll be posting the link right after this cast on our comment section. Be sure to subscribe to the channels. And, next week, my guest on this show will be none other than Mr. Likuyani Eli, who will be telling his story against the odds. So meet him as he meets you right here on ArtsinHeart, final episode of Against All Odds. Until next week, have a great week ahead. And remember, on Tuesday, we have the men's den. On Wednesday, we have the girls' talk. And without forgetting, every Friday is the creative space, Saturday family edition. And on Sunday, of course, Against All Odds. Until then, see you. God bless you and have a great night.